Welcome, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this webinar for busy lawyers. These monthly webinars are designed to bring you practical information in 20 to 30 minutes that you can implement immediately in your practice. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Vedia Jones-Richardson, who is a dear friend and a wonderful mentor, and you're going to love her program. And I want to tell you a little bit about her. She is a partner at Olive & Olive, an intellectual property law firm in Durham, North Carolina, and an adjunct professor and supervising attorney for the North Carolina Central School of Law Trademark Law Clinic. She received her JD from Georgetown University Law Center, is admitted to practice in the District of Columbia, Illinois, and North Carolina, and is certified by the North Carolina State Bar as a trademark specialist. With a BFA in design from Howard University, and I can tell you she has fabulous sense of design. And her additional non-legal work experience in television, advertising, and corporate communications and software development, she brings a practical business orientation and creative perspective to her law practice, counseling clients in trademark, copyright, licensing, technology, entertainment, arts, and promotions law. She has served in various leadership positions in the American Bar Association, where she has chaired the Law Practice Division and YLD Computer Law Committee, and served on various commissions focused on technology and client development issues. And in the North Carolina Bar Association, where she has chaired the annual Bar Leadership Institute, and in the North Carolina Association of Women Attorneys, where she served as president of the Durham chapter. She is also a fellow in the College of Law Practice Management and a founding board member of internetbar.org and serves on the boards of the Southern Documentary Fund and Triangle Artworks. Before I turn it over to Vedia, I want to just let you know that we will have time at the end for all of your questions. Just type them when they come to you, put them right in that chat box, and she'll be able to answer those after the presentation. So, Vedia, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Susan. I'm happy to be here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about legal marketing through technology, but with a slightly different focus. I'm not here to talk to you about how to use technology tools or even how to become a social media maven. I want to talk about a general mindset for incorporating technology into your legal marketing efforts. Because legal marketing is slightly different from marketing other products and services. It requires a different way of thinking. More than any other type of business, legal marketing is really more about you. So it takes a slightly different approach. Potential clients are looking for a few important things when they're seeking legal services. They want an impressive presentation. They want to make sure that they've got someone that they feel they can be impressed with. But they want a sense of competency also, something that gives them a feeling that they've got someone that they can trust. They want accessibility and reliability, a sense of relevance, that is, that you are serving the needs that they actually may have. And after all of that is established, then they may think about cost effectiveness and whether they can actually afford you. But first, you've got to grab them with an interest in who you are. So technology is perfect for this. There are several legal services marketing needs that technology is especially suited to serve. Such tasks as information gathering, managing information, communication, repetition of your efforts, and organizing your efforts. All of these functions play an important role in legal marketing, and technology is especially suited to help with this. One of the most important functions that modern technology can provide is to give you an online presence. In today's online world, your online profile can be the key factor in supporting client development efforts. And you can use computer technology to help tell the story that you want to convey. So when framing the profile that you want to represent you online, consider a number of marketing factors. Essentially, you're establishing a brand. The information that people find about you online will help to tell the story of who you are. So you'll develop a marketing approach that establishes whatever makes you special and allows you to develop a niche and then show off what you know. It also should display your personality and what makes you special. You'll want to manage the online profile that is displayed when people see you online. And this is a basic principle of sound brand management. You want to frequently review the brand and its image and control the message that's being delivered. So this applies to your online profile also. Excuse me. Anything that you do online can wind up becoming part of your online profile. So keep an eye on the privacy settings for everything that you do online to make sure that you know what you're putting out in public. You can also monitor what's being said about you online. Easily, you can set up a Google alert in your name so that it captures and delivers to you information that is found while Google searches are done, while Google searches the internet for mentions of your name. And periodically, you're going to want to set up your own Google search just to see what comes up and not just rely on what the Google alerts send to you. And of course, as lawyers, we have to be mindful of the ethical rules that apply in your jurisdiction as far as online communications by lawyers to make sure that you're not putting anything out there that could come back later to bite you. And websites are the natural place to launch your profile. These are the most critical parts of your online profile. This is where people will go first when they need to know more about you, regardless of how they've heard about you. Although I must say that LinkedIn is becoming a close second in terms of the way people will find someone online. So we could spend an entire session on setting up your website, developing your website. Gosh, days can be spent on that, but I'll touch on a few important things that I think you need to think about as you decide whether your website is doing the best job for you. Your website is going to be the basis for establishing your credibility. So you want to make sure that it looks like the image that you want to portray. At the same time, it also should reveal a little bit about your personality and not just be the website that anyone would find about any lawyer at all. And it should display what's your point of difference, because there's a lot of information out there on the internet, and people should be able to know why you are different from the others. Other important things that your website needs to cover is frequently asked questions should be readily addressed on your website, an FAQ section if you like, but there may be other areas of your website where important information is made available to people, and that helps prevent you from having to answer the same questions over and over again, and people are able to decide whether they whether you have what they need. And then a website should have a call to action, something that gets people looking further, deciding to contact you. So the second and most effective way to market your services beyond just the point where people know that you exist is to develop useful content. Developing and publishing content that demonstrates your value is an especially useful way to use technology for client development. Content allows you to demonstrate your expertise without just singing your praises and making empty claims. Legal ethics rules prevent us from claiming a specialization or an expertise without certification. For instance, Susan mentioned that I can claim that I'm a trademark specialist because North Carolina provides that specialization area, but I can't claim that I'm a copyright specialist because there's no copyright specialization. But good content allows you to demonstrate your expertise in a way that supports you so much better than just making claims about it. So think about whether you have something that's special about you, something unique to say, and decide on a focus area that interests you and displays your special area of knowledge. But good content is not just all about you. It's got to be about something more. It should be something that's valuable to the reader. It's not just a way to advertise your achievements. Let's face it, unless you do something extremely bad or outlandish, you're probably not that interesting. So what you want to do is let the content establish your value through your association with the topic. Good content should be substantial material, not just letting off steam or randomly exploring things that interest you. Substantive information is what's going to hold people's attention. And reference material is the best type of content because this is what invites return visits. People will come back to your information knowing that they can find things from time to time when they need them. So think about what people want to know more about and whether you can help them with this and develop content around that. Remember that your content should be polished and should convey quality. It should convey the value proposition that you offer. Careless posting can do more harm than good. You're better off being quiet than saying something that you'll regret later. So drafting on the fly can be reckless because you will be judged by your posts, even the most minor posts that don't really seem important to you. Sloppiness can really kill your reputation. Remember that casual is a style, but carelessness is not. The key to establishing a reputation for your content is maintaining a steady flow. You want to keep it coming and keep the audience returning. You want to establish a rhythm and a track record. So before starting, you need to be honest with yourself about your capabilities and try to determine in advance what your personal timing is going to be. Because a sense of balance will take you a lot further and avoid burnout after you get started. The best method is to develop a solid stash of materials that you can post in a timely fashion as time goes on. If you're thinking about starting a blog or other content marketing program, first try to write or produce some material that you can save up for your dry periods. And I say write or produce because video content is becoming an important form of content marketing. Also, you can create material that will be published by other sources because other online publications that already have a steady flow of information from various authors can have their own audience base and give you a chance to develop your own. So in general, what you want is to become a trusted resource that people return to time and again, because content marketing allows you to display expertise and develop trust over time. Technology is also a great tool for making connections. Connecting strategically allows you to become known for who you know and who you're associating with. This is why it's important to consider the company that you keep. Numbers aren't everything. High connection numbers shouldn't be what you're after. You don't have to accept every invitation, and you can actually eliminate connections. You can unfriend people over time if you need to. Content also can provide a good way to connect. Content marketing is a mass communication tool. It reaches many, many people, but then you can also use it to develop connections. After establishing an audience, you then can turn around and establish a meaningful connection with members of your audience. You can create dialogue and harvest some of the people that are following you and share information with them, get feedback with them. You can even mention people who have mentored you or follow others and let highlighting them be a way of connecting their followers with you. And of course, social media is the supreme connector. It's often the best way to transfer context from your mass marketing efforts into individual connections. This is where you step down from your podium and into the audience and get to develop some human connection one-on-one. And think about social media. The word social is important. Your contact should be more about the social connection than about the media or the content that you're trying to establish. This is where you're looking for a give and take, two-way feedback loop of connection. After all, developing relationships is what you really want. That's the key to long-term client development. Building relationships takes time and repeated attention. Developing rapport comes from repeated contact that reveals commonalities, and then those lead to effective connection. So find ways to touch base repeatedly. If you cannot think of a reason to touch base, often just saying thank you is the best way to follow up with someone. One of the best relationship development tools offered by technology are contact management systems. There are a lot of good contact management systems, but the best one for you is going to be one that you actually use. Shopping for a system is the best way to find one that works for you. Don't just take recommendations from people or go around asking what the best system is. It's important to actually look at several systems, even if just to help you realize what's possible, what these systems can do for you. In the end, you might find that there's a system you want to create of your own. You might want to knit several functions together and establish an approach that works for you best. Because after all, you're looking for a system that over time you can feed into and control it and maintain it over time. And in my opinion, the best systems are ones that enable your data to travel with you, because then you want to be able to interact with it at any time you need to. I have a contact database that's more than 2 decades old. It's been developed over time. Several generations of PDAs have fed into it, email systems, my smartphones over time, computer systems, all have given me data that are now in my contact management system, and it constantly goes on from day to day. So you can develop a pool of contact data that enables you to build on the connections that you've made and collect information that's meaningful to you and the people that you've met. Whatever points of contact and connection that you've established can go into your system and help to form a history of what you have in common with others. And then this system can marry with other communication systems that you use, like social media and newsletters and invitation lists to feed data into those systems. Because technology is a good way to help you remember to stay in touch and maintain a sense of connection. When you think of a future reason for connecting, you can schedule a follow-up. Or if you meet someone at an event that occurs annually, you can make a note in your calendar and schedule an anniversary event as a follow-up. Once you start relying on technology to help keep you connecting, you'll come up for all kinds of ideas for ways to use it. Technology can also help keep you on track as you execute your marketing plan. There's so many ways in which technology can help you with research, planning, executing on your plans, tracking your plans and your progress, note-taking. It's often useful to have tools that you can have handy for capturing ideas and information wherever you are. So essentially what you want to do is use all of the different technology tools that are at your disposal to think about how technology can feed into basic marketing from time to time. Develop a plan and then keep at it and use technology tools to help you. We have any questions?
Well, thank you so much, Vedia, for that fabulous presentation. You gave us really a ton of information about using technology for marketing, and we do have some questions. So the first question is, do you have a rule of thumb as to how often you renew contacts, quarterly or at least annually, via email or otherwise?
I wish I had a rule of thumb for anything. The truth is that often the situation will help to develop what the timing will be. And the main thing is to be able to rely on my tools to help me remember to stay in touch at all. And it really depends on the person and the situation, what the circumstances are for you in terms of options and opportunities to connect. So I wouldn't say that I have a rule of thumb about frequency or even number of times that a connection will take to establish. It really is pretty much something that you have to massage over time.
And we have another question. How useful is Avvo?
I can't speak particularly to Avvo. And, you know, that was one thing I didn't want to do is start talking about particular systems and tools, because I really do think that you have to look around and see what makes the most sense for you.
You know, that goes back to what you started with, that this is really about mindsets. And it's, you know, you have to kind of be in that mindset to dive in and just try things out until you figure out, you know, as you said, what works for you.
That's right.
We have, hold on, got some more questions here. So can you speak specifically if there is anything that you do when marketing IP related services?
Well, I don't know if IP services are any different from any others in terms of being able to really delve into the subject matter and display what your expertise is. I think one of the most obvious things that IP practice offers is the fact that technology has become so much a part of our lives, and technology is a big part of an intellectual property practice. But there are so many other ways that the world has come to embrace intellectual property practice. You know, issues of digital technology lead to trademark and branding and website development and domain name management. And social media and branding are important aspects of modern technology that is ripe for developing an IP practice, and even using digital technology in ways that are legal and allowed and protectable leads to my copyright practice. So I really think that it's just about being able to delve into subject matter that's of interest to you, and then find all ways to relate it to what people in the audience may need.
We have another question. This may go beyond the scope of the presentation, but can you offer some thoughts on effective networking? If one is at an event with dozens of professionals, what should be the goal? A few seconds with each? Try to find a good connection and build it with one or two? How best to follow up on that connection?
Well, I do think that networking events provide a unique opportunity for meeting several people. If you want to connect one-on-one with someone, the best opportunity to do that is later or before, sometime other than the event. Of course, it's good to be able to run into someone that you've been wanting to connect with for a while, and you can spend some time with them at the networking event, but you really want to use that opportunity as a way to get in touch with those people that you've never met, that you've never thought of meeting, and get around the room, not just spend too much time in one place. I think it's also useful to, in advance, see who's going to be at the event. And that's, again, where technology can be very helpful. If you are able to get information about the attendee list in advance, run some of that through your research, run that through your contact management system, and know if there's someone there that you want to connect with, then you can plan in advance for the event. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, being able to follow up afterwards by making that connection, making sure that you actually harvest the connections that you obtain at an event is very important.
And I would just add that if you want to email me, susan@masslomap.org, we have a lot of resources, so we can definitely help you on that. So it's susan@masslomap.org. Got another question here. For someone establishing a new practice or building an online presence, which of the practice management areas that you have presented should take priority? Establish web page or something else?
Well, I think they all work together. A web page is a somewhat static tool. People will visit it and use it more for reference. But if you're able to get some content out there, then people are going to find you more, because the website search engines are going to be looking at information as it changes and as it is clicked on because it's relevant, and that will lead more people to your door, if you will. Your website can reinforce that. It can be a place where you post content, but content that's out there elsewhere can also lead back to your website. So I really do think it all works together. If you can focus on one thing rather than another, don't sell yourself short by saying, that you can't do what really interests you most. But I do think it all works together.
And I would just add on a couple of things, because I think Vita's, hit the nail on the head there. But you have options. You have LinkedIn, which is easy. You can build a web page yourself, which is easy, and just have a blog in the web page that you're constantly, as Vita said, adding in new content. And if you need any more, we have resources here at LOMAP on that as well. So that would...
Yeah, those are good points.
Any closing thoughts, Vita?
Well, I just want to encourage everyone to use the tools at their disposal and to think about marketing as an ongoing activity, an ongoing ability to develop relationships with people out there that you might want to connect with.
Well, thank you so much, Vedia, for sharing your time and advice with us. We'll be providing a recording and the slides on our website. That's www.masslomap.org. Thanks for tuning in, and mark your calendars for next month's webinar when, tell you in 1 second, Kimberly Rice is going to be talking about the top habits of rainmakers, and that will be on Wednesday, March 21st at noon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.